This is the Seven Figure Standard Podcast, hosted by Arash Vossoughi and Mikey Stiller, with mindset and strategies to help you break through and create personal freedom.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Seven Figure Standard Podcast. I'm Mikey Stiller, joined by my co-host, Arash Vossoughi, and we are so happy to be with you today. Arash, how are you doing?
I'm great, Mikey. How are you?
I am doing good. I think that our listeners are going to love today's episode because we get so many questions on the topics we're going to discuss. So we are going to talk about conquering self-doubt and building confidence, which I know is a topic that you are an expert in. You talk a lot about identity, and part of identity is overcoming that doubt that we all have. So how does self-doubt affect your identity, and how can you overcome self-doubt to build your identity?
Well, doubt just comes from your old story. I talk to clients all the time, and they'll tell me, I'm always procrastinating, and I want to build my confidence. That just all they're telling me is they're doubting it. The reason they're doubting it, they're not thinking. And what we want to get in a habit of is doubting our doubts, questioning our doubts, and saying, is it real? Or is it a story? I promise you it's a story. And the story comes from ignorance. It comes from not knowing. Now, somebody says, no, my doubt is real because in the past I did this. And I say, yes, what does that have anything to do with what you're going to create in the future? So I think doubt, well, I know this. I don't just think this. I know doubt is the enemy, not fear. A lot of people say, I have fear. Well, how does fear come? We've accepted the doubt on a deep emotional level. So how do we get rid of the doubt and conquer the doubt? We have to first have an all-in commitment with what we want. We have to get really good at accepting and rejecting ideas before the doubt can take over. Mike, let's say you and I have an idea, and then a thought comes in that says, I've never done this before. Can I really do this? Don't you remember when this happened? You got to say, cancel. I don't care what happened. All I know is this is what's going to happen. And you put all your energy looking forward. When we're in doubt, it's like all day long, we're driving our life in reverse. And we don't drive our car all day long in reverse. You may drive your car in reverse to back out of your driveway, but then you put it in drive to go forward. But most people are living their life in reverse because they don't understand what doubt is doing. People don't have a confidence issue. They have a doing issue. What kills doubt is doing action. When we're in action, we don't have doubt and fear because our spirit takes over. So we all know what to do. We're just not doing what we know to do. So what we have to do is radically accept the opposite idea of the doubt. And doubt, to overcome doubt, it's a decision. I'm not accepting this. And I've said this on this podcast many times. I'll say it 1,000 more times because people are hearing us to what they can understand. And decision is the death of everything. So I want everyone to make a decision. In a millisecond, whatever they doubt, they're going to do the opposite. And if you start training yourself to do that, doubt is going to slip away.
Is doubt something that we all deal with at every level of success? We just have tools to overcome it or combat it quicker or come up against it less frequently?
Every level of success, every goal you're going to set, there's going to be some type of doubt. Every peak performer will talk about it. Every great performer. But in a millisecond, they switch their mind. They switch their mind and don't put the attention on it. See, whatever we put our attention on, our actions follow, our intentions follow. So every new goal you're going to set, if you're a goal achiever, the next goal, you're going to have a slimmer of doubt. Now, I used to have a lot of doubt. Well, how did I get rid of it? This is where you have to activate and really work on your alternate identity because that's the real you. Your alternate identity is not worried about doubt. When you came into this world, you weren't doubting, but you've been trained over years from how your upbringing was and how your programming was created where that doubt came in. I'm not good enough. Where do you think I'm not good enough comes from? I mean, how many people are walking around saying I'm not worthy? That's all doubt. Why? Because they've radically accepted the wrong idea. Why did they radically accept it? Because they've never been taught how to think. And I always say, I want to teach people to think in a certain way. Everything is done in a certain way. And look, I could give you countless stories of when doubt comes up or how different I treat it now compared to how I treated it when I was not aware. That's why we have to develop our mindset. So if you're sitting there right now and you're the person who's saying, I doubt all the time, I doubt myself, I doubt, is this going to happen? That will tell you we have to upgrade your story. And that's all it tells you. The doubt there's a trigger to that doubt. And the trigger is you weren't thinking in that moment. So imagine if you started thinking the opposite of the doubt, what will happen?
Mm-hmm. So you just went over a common cause, I would say, of self-doubt, which is not thinking. Would you say, you also said earlier that the way to overcome doubt is by doing. So is another common cause of doubt procrastinating or planning to plan, essentially not taking action?
Procrastination isn't the cause, it's an effect.
Mm-hmm.
So the cause is our thinking, the prequel to that attitude, why we procrastinated. That's why we negotiate with ourselves, because we compare it to something that we're used to. That could be an experience where I tried something and it didn't work. So now I know I should do this, but I'm not going to do it. I know I should do it, but I'm not going to do it. And this is why we have to train ourselves to be the best in the world. Imagine if you were the best in the world. Do you think you'd have a lot of doubt?
Yes and no. I think you still would come up against doubt, but I don't think that you would come up against it and it would freeze you.
When you're the best in the world, you eat doubt for breakfast. When it comes up, you're like, I'm not accepting that idea. There's no way.
Yeah.
You know why? But how do you become the best in the world? We did a whole podcast episode on this. Is we have to build certainty in ourselves. See, there's not anyone who walked this planet that never doubted. There's not going to be another time that we're not going to have doubt, but we have to have the weapons on how to overcome it. This is why what I'm giving you today is a process on how to kill doubt.
Mm-hmm.
You have to have a reason, though. We do everything based on a reason. What are your reasoning? Doubt is low energy. And remember, we've got to eliminate anything that depletes our energy. All it is accepting a different idea. It's so simple. All it is thinking in a certain way. But you know what doubt kills? It doesn't just kill your dream. It kills your confidence. Mm-hmm. People will tell me all the time, I have a confidence issue, Arash. I said, no, you don't. You have a thinking issue. You have a decision issue. And we've got to commit to our craft. What is our greatest craft is ourselves. We've got to treat ourselves like a work of art. If you find a great artist, they are so creative. We've got to be creative with ourselves. Mm-hmm. And we've got to relax. And as soon as that doubt comes, we all know when it comes because it overtakes us. It's a feeling. And it's no different than fear. It's like you're stuck in quicksand. And then you say, I'm not going to do it. So what happens? I'm going to play it safe. The minute we play it safe, the minute we just lost the battle. Our mind is a battlefield. And throughout the day, there's all these different things going on in the battlefield. Mm-hmm. And are we going to overcome them? So that's why we have to get really good at thinking in a certain way.
Okay, so you just went exactly where I was about to go, but in the opposite direction. So at the beginning of this podcast, said that we're going to talk about conquering self-doubt and building confidence. And you just said that you'll have clients come to you and say they have a confidence issue, and you'll say, no, you have a thinking issue. My question is, does confidence remove or help you overcome self-doubt? Or does overcoming self-doubt help you build confidence? Are they on a flywheel together and they build momentum together?
Well, number one, confidence is a game changer. And when somebody says, I lost my confidence, for example, they never had it. It was artificial confidence. They were letting the result dictate if they were confident or not confident. Neither is true. Confidence is about doing. Confidence is about deliberate practice. The more repetition we do, the better we get. If we're not doing the repetition, we're not going to overcome the doubt. Think about if you were playing a sport. When you first started playing, let's say you're hitting a ball, okay? And you'll hit it and you're overthinking. Then you do the repetition. All of a sudden, you let your automatic mind take over because you've done enough repetition, and then it's effortless. You're not thinking at all. Well, that's what confidence is. Confidence is you let your genius take over through the repetition. So we've got to do that to overcome doubt. Well, what type of repetition? Accepting the right ideas, rejecting the opposite ideas, and elevating our identity through our standard. But we've got to remember, let's look at the story. Somebody's listening to this podcast right now. I want you to put the biggest doubts you have in your mind. And then I want you to ask yourself, is it real? Because you are a completely different person today than when that doubt was created. Yet you're fused with the person who was in that doubt. That's not who you are anymore. So we've got to get really good. If anybody is really morphed into doubt, this is the exercise I give everybody, is I want you to write out the story of you at your very best, the best version of yourself, and rewrite it every day for 30 days. Well, eventually, the repetition of rewriting it, you're not going to believe it the first time. You're going to be like, Arash is crazy. Writing it's going to change it. What's happening is we're rewiring ourselves for confidence. We have to see ourselves confident before we're going to be confident. But in the doing and the repetition of the doing, what's happening, the more repetition we practice, we get in the spirit of it. What does that mean? We're letting go. And letting go is the critical part in your thinking. I don't accept this idea. That's letting go. You know what attachment is? Will this work? Overthinking. So once we let go, you're going to overcome the doubt through the thinking and through the action, and the confidence is going to be your best friend.
Mm-hmm. How important is the role of environment, the people that we surround ourselves with, and mentorship to both overcoming self-doubt and building confidence?
Well, it's very important because we become who we hang out with. And mentorship is the biggest cheat code. Like, I gained confidence just because somebody else believed in me before I believed in myself. A great mentor will hold the image not as you are, but as who you can be. Like, if a client comes and works with me, the first thing I do is I ask them what they want and I accept that idea. I never question it. And I tell them to put all the burden on me. Put all your doubts in me. Okay. I tell them that because I'll take your doubts because I know if you follow a certain process, you're going to win. But I know when somebody's not winning, even if they're doing the studying, but they're not studying themselves in a certain way, they're not doing the actions in a certain way, they're going to be very, very much in their energy, very blah. You could tell when they're attached. So I know doubt's still controlling them. Because, let me make it simple for everybody. Accept kick-ass ideas about yourself. When the doubt comes up, accept a 10x idea. That idea that you're doubting, I'm not good enough, I want you to 10x the opposite. I am as worthy as I've ever been. Well, if you start doing that, you're going to change the game for yourself.
We've touched on this topic before on the podcast. It's been quite some time. But anytime we talk about confidence, there's that word imposter syndrome that does come up and that people can relate to so well because it's kind of a buzzword right now. So what is the first step towards overcoming imposter syndrome if you come up against it in building your self-confidence?
I will tell you this. This is my relationship with imposter syndrome. I think it's bullshit. I really think it's bullshit. I had it, so I can say it, and it was bullshit. It's us telling ourselves, let the past dictate the present and the present dictate the future. That's what imposter syndrome is. I've never been doing this long enough.
Mhm.
I remember, I think I've shared this story before, but I'm going to relate it to this. I was my first year in the business. I was getting a lot better than I ever was. My mentor, who I had such deference for, he calls me and he says, do you think you're the best in the world at this? And he said, do you think you're better than me? And I said, no, but I'm getting better. He said, from this moment, I want you to see yourself better than me. I want you to see yourself as the very best. He said, do you know why I'm the best? And I gave him all these reasons. He said, that's not why I'm the best. He said, I'm the best because I see myself as the best. And he said, from that moment, that's what I want you to do. And that's what I did. And I will tell you what he did is, I always share this. He gave me permission to see myself bigger.
Mhm.
And that's what I want to give everybody. Like, imagine if we were working with a bigger idea of ourselves every day, 1%. The doubt will just go away. Even when it comes, because I'm not saying I never have doubts, because I do, but I don't. As soon as I do, I know I'm not thinking. I know I'm letting a circumstance think for me. And I know that I can't create a world-class life accepting thoughts of doubt.
Mhm.
All doubt is lack and limitation. And any circumstance that leads towards lack, we've got to have a hard no to. I understand this. This is a hard thing for people. But you've got to make a decision for yourself. Am I going to master myself? Because the only thing we have to master before we can master any skill set is mastering ourselves. And a lot of people want to create a world-class life, but you're not going to create a world-class life doubting yourself all the time. So you've got to decide, what is the price I'm going to pay? Am I going to do the deep internal work to catch my doubts and just accept a bigger idea of myself? And when you do that, that's what's going to happen. Every time I go on stage and speak, I don't know what I'm going to say. I prepare, but you never know what you're going to say. So a slimmer of doubt will start coming, and I say, nope, I'm just going to let go. Like every single time. There's not one time it doesn't come.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to let the people down. But then I don't even accept it. I go, I know what's happening. The doubt's trying to creep in. I'm not letting it. So that's what we want to do.
I feel like we're right in lockstep because I was just about to ask you to share a personal story of when you have faced self-doubt and how you navigated it. And so just to summarize that, basically the way that you navigate it is head on, right? Through not pausing, not letting it stop you.
I just take action. Like, I will accept a bigger idea in that moment is how I do it. But, there's a great book called U Squared and by Price Pritchett. And in the book, he says, if you're going to doubt anything, doubt your doubts. And if you haven't gotten that book, I've read it thousands of times. It's a short read. It's 30 pages of some of the best philosophy on creating quantum leaps.
Mhm.
But I remember the first time I was reading it, I was on a plane to San Diego. I had such low self-esteem. I had just lost my job, and I had so much doubt. And I read that line over and over again, over and over again. And I said, the way I study is making it part of my identity. I said, I'm not going to doubt anything.
Yeah.
And he said, doubt your doubts. I said, that is a hell of an idea. So I always am big on questions. So I said, is the doubt real? And every time you ask that question, is the doubt real? You'll be like, no, that's not real. That's from my past. That's why we've got to understand the three parts of how we work. Our past self is our paradigm. It's going to defend its operating system. You could be struggling mightily, and it's still going to defend you to try to stay in your comfort zone. You could be succeeding, and you got to go to a new level of courage. So what we're talking about here is we have to take our courage muscle to overcome the doubt.
So you're so process driven. What are a couple of things that our listeners could do every day to combat self-doubt?
Well, number one, I would rewrite your story of the person who is supremely confident, the person who takes action. Every time you're procrastinating, doubt beats you. I'm going to tell you that right now. And do you want doubt to beat you? Because what is doubt? Doubt is going to create worry and fear. And so fear is a manifestation of doubt. That's why I always say doubt is not our enemy. So how can we do it? By making decisions. And I don't mean just any decision. I mean definite, radical, relentless decision of what you want in that moment. And what you want is the opposite of the doubt. Nobody wakes up and says, I can't wait to doubt myself today. It feels like crap doubting ourselves. We're not comfortable in our own skin. We don't have a strong image of ourselves. So every goal, you're going to have to overcome another level of doubt. And how do you really master it? By mastering accepting and rejecting ideas. Like I say this all the time. People have no idea how much that will change your life. Like it changed my life so dramatically. And it still changes my life. Well, when we're disrupting comfort, what do we have? How do you disrupt comfort? You have to radically accept a different idea in the moment. So I want you to train yourself where you feel the doubt, you go, nope, I'm not accepting it, and then take an action right away. One positive action that is opposite of the doubt.
So Raj, I'm assuming that's the action step for today. How long should our listeners commit to doing that?
Forever.
That's what I knew you were going to say that.
I mean, forever. Because that's what it demands.
Yeah.
That's what it demands. Think about this. Why do people, let's take it a different level.
Mm-hmm.
Why do people have a challenge with quote unquote difficult conversations? Because they've created a story from their past that I'm just going to let it go. I'm just not even going to say it. Then they build resentment. Instead, what if we stop doubting and trusted ourselves that I'm going to get this bad energy out of myself? I'm just going to have a real conversation, but I'm going to treat the conversation that it's just a conversation. It's not easy. It's not difficult. The reason people don't step into that is because they don't do difficult. They look at it from it being so difficult. So they assign a level of difficulty before they even start. That's what doubt is. We're assigning, I can't do this before we've even given ourselves an opportunity to do it. Emerson says, do the thing will give you power. He doesn't say doubt the thing will give you power. He doesn't say suppress all your emotions, it's going to give you power. What is doubt? It's a suppression of emotions when we don't deal with it. So the more we get real with ourselves and do the deep internal work to overcome that doubt, it's going to change the game. But what if I told you that I've discovered whatever anyone's doubt is, it's the same doubt that is affecting 1,000 different things in their life. But what if we got rid of that one doubt? Imagine how free emotionally they'll be. A lot of people come to me and they say, Arash, I want to create financial freedom. And I tell them this. I said, emotional freedom is what you're looking for. The emotional freedom is what creates the financial freedom. The emotional freedom is about letting go. It's about creating a transformative story of who they really are, not who they're pretending to be. And that's where that alternate identity is the real us. We've got to tap in to who we really are, not the weakest version of ourselves. Doubt, when we accept doubt, that's the weakest version.
This turned into such a powerful episode. And if you really listen to it, and you may want to listen to it more than one time and then apply what Arash was telling you, it will transform your life in such incredible ways. Arash, thank you so much. And thanks to all of you. If you enjoyed today's episode, go ahead and leave us a rating and review. Share this with your friends and family or anyone who you think might benefit from it. And we'll see you next week on another episode of the 7-Figure Standard Podcast. Thanks, Arash.
Thanks, Mikey.
Thank you for listening to this episode of 7-Figure Standard. We hope you found the insights and strategies helpful on your journey to success. If you enjoyed this episode, please leave us a rating and review on your favorite podcast platform to help us reach more people like you. To learn more about Arash and Mikey and how Voss Coach & Co. can help you achieve your goals and reach new levels of success, visit vosscoachandco.com. Thank you again for listening, and we'll see you on the next episode of 7-Figure Standard.